Hello everyone. If you have ever been a fan of biryani, pulao or any other rice dish, your top of the mind brand recall would go to India Gate. India Gate, a brand that has been leading the category of basmati rice for a while now. The brand has now forayed into other categories with masalas, with edible oils and others. Their aim is to become an Indian household kitchen staple. Today with me, Yash Bhatia is joining with Kunal Sharma, the Vice President of KRBL Limited. Today we will get to know what the plan of launching these new categories and how are their marketing strategies planned against the India Gate and what kind of initiatives are they looking to do. So here we go with the interaction.
Start, how are you looking out these opportunities, and how are you finding these opportunities, and what's the idea behind it?
Sure. So, Yash, I think there are, certain vectors of adjacencies that we are exploring as a company. So, while our core business remains rice, right, and within rice, we are also forayed into regional rices, which is also part of the daily staple. I think one vector we have identified for ourselves is the whole health and proactive health space,
Yeah.
uh, wherein we launched this brand Uplife, and
Yeah.
our foray was through oils, edible oils. But the idea is to be able to bring in a plethora of products appealing to a younger audience, the newer India that we refer to always, who are proactively looking at managing their health and also at functional food space, right? So I think that is one area where we are constantly working in terms of bringing out, categories and innovations. So if I look at it, whatever we have done comes with a certain value add. We are not looking at the mass space with this. If you look at edible oils, we came in with a first in the industry gut health oil, and gut, as we all know, is a very important trend that we identified earlier. Then we also forayed into an exclusive launch with Swiggy of a controlled oil dispensing bottle, right, under Uplife. So I think, so whatever we are doing in this space is typically catering to that audience and also kind of bringing newer innovations in the industry. The third one that we did was our light everyday rice, which is a low GI rice, again for consumers who are looking at a more because, as we all know, there is a growing perception amongst younger audiences that staples are carbs, right, and hence not something which is part of a holistic diet that they want to keep. So for such conscious consumers, we are bringing in low GI rices within the portfolio.
Yeah.
So that's how we are looking at this, and there are more innovations within the space that we are looking. So this is one direction of work that we are.
Just a follow up to this,
Yeah.
just I want to ask that, as you said that the newer categories are more focused toward the conscious consumers and want to make them aware about it. Would it be right to say that as the India Gate rise work mostly toward tier 2 cities, this newer category wants to first appeal to the metro audience because they are the more conscious customers as compared to tier 2 cities right now?
True. So see, inherently our strength as a brand,
Yeah.
okay, also because of the nature of the category and packaged basmati is more metro focused. So
Yeah.
so keeping that in mind, yes. And number two, you're right. But what we felt was we couldn't house it under India Gate as a brand because the brand of India Gate couldn't stretch so far.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why we launched it under a sub-brand architecture under India Gate.
Yeah.
So that's one. The second vector that we are looking at is the whole value-added spices space, right? Not really too much into the straight spices or the so-called blended spices at this point of time, but more the value-added spices where we are seeing a lot of value that consumers today are giving to getting authentic,
Okay.
food products, right?
Okay.
And the authenticity of the spice is our promise that we bring. While convenience is an overarching trend that we see in metros with nuclear families, etc., but we decided not to position our offering only on convenience. The format delivers convenience, but our positioning is on the authenticity of these spices. So, which is why, we've curated. So, our first success was with biryani masala, which was a very core adjacency because India Gate biryani masalas was a logical extension.
Yes.
Having found success there, we found merit in extending this promise of authenticity into the other spices, right? And right now we've launched 4 more variants, right? But I think the idea is to be able to extend this into, and also interestingly, we are also seeing that, the initial 5-6 years back, what we had seen in the ready to heat category, ready to eat, has actually shifted, and now consumers and more post-COVID behavior where consumers want ready to cook. So they want a level of convenience, but they still want to cook in the kitchen. Yeah. So simplification, but also, involvement in the process, right? So that's why now we are seeing a huge upsurge in this ready to cook formats that, across the straddle. So our right to win in the spices being in the, in the staple space, we are using the equity of the brand and extending into this range of authentic spices under our India Gate Classic franchisee. And then there is more work on the spices section on the authenticity promise that we are working on. So that's the second space that we are working on. The third piece is largely where we are looking at the core strength of the brand, which is in the staples category, and attempting to get into certain adjacencies in the staple space. In the next year, you will see maybe a couple of them come to light. We are still in the process of kind of announcing that. But we are looking at certain adjacencies where the brand equity is high and we have a high right to win because consumers will easily accept a staple coming from a brand like India Gate because they've been using it for decades. So I think if you look at it from that vector, there are these 3 vectors of extensions or adjacencies that as an organization we are looking at.
When you said that you got a good success into the biryani masala, can you quantify it, what sales or something on that? Like what was the
So I think, Yash, in terms of sales, see, I'll tell you how we measure success because this is not a category which exists, right? Our aspiration was really to be able to place the product, get the right price point and price laddering to be able to get the consumer to try the product and deliver an experience which encourages consumers to come and buy again, right? So we have been able to successfully over the last 2 years place this product across all our modern trade and e-commerce partners, right? And the whole, and we've invested significantly in terms of giving trial to the consumers of the product, either through wet sampling or through dry sampling, going into the households, and that we have seen good repeats there. So one is that vector that we.
By that time, there wasn't any advertising or a marketing.
Right. We at an awareness level, all that we were doing was at the point of sale. Right. So that has gotten us to a level where within the overall spices, the biryani masala space, which includes dry powder. In the stores where we've launched, I think we've reached about 5 to 10%, varying across platforms, of market share within that segment. But frankly, that's not the right metric because the consumer here is very different. We feel a lot of other consumers are also going to come into the category. So that is one. So our plans now are, one is horizontal expansion into newer masala mixes. Also looking at other variants of biryani masala to continue to meet consumer demands around biryanis. The third vector is really to activate the awareness part of the funnel. So we are actually during the Ramadan period, we had actually activated a campaign with one of our e-commerce partners to really take on this whole agenda of creating awareness, right, and driving awareness and then consideration for a product. So I think that's the vector that now we realize that if we have to now scale beyond this, we'll have to do that, right? So I think that's what we are now going to do in the next 1 to 2 years.
Okay. And you said that you would be using India Gate expertise into the mover other categories. Well, the expertise would be in terms of the distribution that you have cracked for that category that you would push to the other categories. Is that what you're talking about, or is there something else that you have made it?
That's not the primary one, Yash. One is that when you look at a brand,
Yeah.
and there has to be a consumer acceptance when a brand extends into a certain category. I
Yes.
think for other staples, it fits in seamlessly, right?
Yeah.
When you look at the staple space, there's besan, there's maida, there's atta, there's so and an offering coming from India Gate under the rest of the staples is something that the consumer will expect and
Yeah.
will seamlessly adopt. Number two is the fact that a lot of the category expectations in the staples categories around quality, trust, those
Yes.
things, which is the strength of India Gate 2,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So there is a convergence there that, we clearly see,
Yeah.
because of which we feel we have a very strong right to win there. And that's why we are, but, even in that, I think, Yash, one guardrail that we are keeping is we are not going, all out on one category across all markets. So
Yeah.
maybe you will see us doing pilots in Delhi for a particular category, maybe South for a particular category, and then we scale up once we get success, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's the journey that we plan to take.
The dream is basically to be the kitchen staple brand,
Yeah,
and you would
yeah,
find every category thing on
right,
the
right.
kitchen of that brand.
Yeah. That's the North Star for us. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. And like it would be achievable in how many years do you think that it's a 5-10 years plan? Like what
Okay.
exactly are you looking at?
I think whenever I look at this, I think, see, there are 2-3 things that you need to factor in here.
Yeah.
One is an FMCG company getting into multiple categories is
Yeah.
probably, to me, easier in my mind. For a company that has over 25 years, stayed in a single category and created leadership there, I think this is a journey.
Yeah.
And that journey is definitely not going to be easy, even for an organization, for a brand, because it requires a mindset shift.
Yes. Yeah.
It also requires understanding of multiple categories, right?
Yeah.
And whenever we lend India Gate as a brand into any
Yeah.
category, we would want it to succeed, right?
Yes.
So keeping all of that in mind, I think it's definitely not going to be lesser than a 5 to 10 year journey for us to get there, right?
Yeah.
And I think it will be a lot of doing, learning, and iteration at the same point of time, as we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have been reading a lot of your interviews, particularly in trade media. What I have witnessed talking to some of the brands, like quick commerce has become their testing ground whenever they enter into a new category.
Right.
They experiment, they gather not the particular data, but to the sales data in which areas they are getting the most sales. They gather some data around it, and then moving to a different category, then they go all out. Is it the same for you as well with the newer categories that you're moving in? And how are you looking quick commerce, particularly with this newer categories?
Sure. No, I think you're right. There is very clearly a testing ground available for all brands today, right? Having said that, I think we also need to understand that every testing ground comes at a certain cost for brands also. So
Yeah.
launching a product today on QCom or on modern retail requires investments.
Yes.
Unlike a general trade, which had your inherent capabilities utilized. For example, a salesman was already going into the outlet. You will give him one more product to sell.
Yeah.
Right? So always for new products, what I've seen is general trade is always accretive, but general trade is very difficult today in India's ecosystem to launch new products because of the spread and the kind of awareness you need for consumers to really come and buy your product. So hence, the logical way to go is, if you ask me very honestly, a pure play e-commerce followed by modern trade, followed by quick commerce, and then general trade. That's the right ladder. Having said that, quick commerce has become such a behavioral shift that you really can't afford to launch an e-com without doing QCom. Right? So that's where brands are actually trying. The only challenge that I see there, Yash, is that discovery is not the journey inherent in a Q-commerce journey.
Yeah.
Consumers are coming with high intent to buy something. They
Yeah.
spend very limited time. In 4 minutes, they would have checked out, and bought whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
You are not really able to tell much of a story about the brand.
Yeah.
So that is somewhere a limitation, I feel.
The brand building is not being able to
Yeah,
done.
yeah. And even for that point of time, if I'm selling a low GI rice, the
Yeah.
only opportunity is the PDP I have, and I have to show my product there. And in
Yeah.
my description, I have to put in a low GI rice
Yeah.
and expect the consumer to see it and buy it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying that journey is so short that
Yeah.
that's a challenge, if you ask me. And obviously,
Mm.
as marketers, we have to solve for it.
Yes.
The second part where I see a lot of success happen is physical modern retail. Because physical modern retail is increasingly giving me signals that there is high potential for success there, because consumers are coming into the store, spending
Yeah.
time in the store to buy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
navigate multiple categories.
Yeah.
Also, you're able to give the physical experience in the store of a product, the
Yeah.
physicality of holding a bottle or a pack and talk to them about it. So I think from a design standpoint, modern trade retail is the best design today for a successful new product launch.
Okay.
But having said that, you can't afford to be there and not be somewhere. So it's an interplay between, both spaces that you keep doing. So, yeah.
Okay. Got it. Also, you have mentioned in the interviews that with this new category, the spices, I have read that interview that you are not focused towards celebrity endorsement, but heavily relying on the UGC and the influencing marketing strategy. While if you see the India Gate rice category, you have done campaign with Amitabh Bachchan and maybe Pankaj Tripathi. I just first want to understand, when you sit on a marketing strategy, how does it you plan it for the newer categories, and for these newer categories, when do you think would be the right time to get a celebrity on board?
Sure.
When do you think that there is a need for that?
Yeah. So I think two things. When I look at celebrities, I see one is scale and the other is credibility. If these two vectors are really required, then you do it. For example, if I start selling my biryani masala, say in general trade in Lucknow, Gorakhpur, then I would probably use a celebrity to get better cut through and so on and so forth, right? That's my 2 cents on that. The second thing is, I also feel very strongly that it's important to look at whom are you crafting the product for, right? And understand that consumers' mindset and behavior today, and then what is it that will pursue it. For example, one of the trends that we are picking up, that there is a lot of even within the influencer ecosystem, the larger influencers have lesser impact in terms of persuasion, versus you see much better engagement with
They
content
have a
creators,
particular
etc.
community to target.
So hence I'm saying, and we've experienced this through multiple campaigns that we have done. And I think that filter definitely needs application as marketers when we, decide the objective and who the audience is. So to answer your question in short, I don't see that happening very much in the near future with the kind of products we are right now in the market with, right? For Uplife, definitely. Yeah. But once we reach a certain scale and have a plethora of products, probably we would, look at that space. Yeah.
And how much marketing budget are you getting in for the newer categories? Because initially these are at the awareness level. So, like if you could share a number or something, that how are you looking at it
in that, Yash, there is now a very interesting theory that is emerging. That earlier, maybe 5 to 10 years back, the marketer always used to put the first dollar into awareness.
Yes.
Then consideration and then conversion, right? In some ways, I think that funnel is now reversing.
Okay.
Because of the fact of how the go-to market for new launches is happening, right? Let's say I'm launching a product in e-commerce, quick commerce. There are media vehicles and targeting capabilities that these platforms are now providing to me. Right. So I can today decide that if I launch a product in Delhi on, say, a Blinkit or a Zepto or an Amazon, I can tail that buying consumer within Delhi market and show him certain things on Meta. Right? Targeting. If you go that sharp, I would rather do that rather than run an ad on television or, because I know that that's a core consumer who's buying online. And I would tail that consumer. So I think today in some of these newer categories, especially where the objective really is, struggle between awareness and at the end of the day, all of us have to handle P&Ls.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for us to put in our money very wisely
Yeah.
to, what can really give us returns.
Okay.
And we understand that new brands do take, for example, conversions of a new brand would be much lower. But the idea is to be able to monitor and see that improving. And if that is happening, then you know that there is a path to kind of come to some kind of a reasonable level of conversion.
Yeah. But is there a tangible number, like out of the revenue you would be spending 30%? Because as you mentioned that you are doing targeting, but the targeting itself is making an awareness in that particular area due to the digital medium that you have right now.
I think, Yash, it's unfair for me to give you a number. I'll tell you why. Because for a company like us, we look at, say, an India market and say that what are our growth vectors, right? And we invest as an organization into the brands, right? Certain brands don't turn profitable, certain brands do, right? And they are all in different stages of evolution. As an organization, our agenda is to really make sure that our PAT and EBITDA keep moving in the right space. And these are more strategic decisions, right? कि इस पे invest करना है नहीं करना है, what part of the funnel do I really invest in, and that's I think more a boardroom strategy rather than something which is absolutely cast in stone. I mean, it could be something right now when I'm talking to you, but ho sakta hai basis some learnings it changes, right? So I would say we somewhere understand that we definitely, while we continue to strengthen the core of our business, which is right. I think some of our core strengths will have to be used to look at the future and grow our future, right? And that's what we are looking at it from that side.
Okay, got it. You also have India Gate access, like the India Gate market is for Indian market. Also, you serve internationally as well.
We serve internationally.
So, with this new categories, are you also looking into going with international or right now with it India?
Not right now. Right now. In the past, we've done a couple of launches, like a rice bran oil used to sell, internationally. But most of the newer launches, we are right now test marketing in India. Yeah.
Okay, got it. And you are also redesigned, I think, the whole packaging, and also can you talk about
it's
that?
It's been a year and a half, I think. See, there are 2-3 things. In a category like ours, there are multiple factors which determine sales, market share, etc. Right? There's distribution, there's pricing, there's trade, and so on and so forth. But at an overall level, what I can tell you is that because we've done a pre-post eval of the packaging, right? I think at a consumer level, there is a very high level of likability of the packaging, right? In terms of, and we've done it across centers. So I can tell you that at pan-India level, we saw that significant uptick, right? Also the fact that, the packaging change, while it was overdue, it was also intended to bring in certain premium connotation to the brand and strengthen it actually. So that's also in the right direction. So I think 2-3 things that we've been able to achieve through this at this point of time. Yeah.
Okay. But, as I have also seen your interview and you were talking about that the unbranded rice, you see that as a competition and 60% of it is driving that revenue. I want to understand what consumer or what is it exactly attracting that they are moving towards the unbranded rice, and what kind of initiatives particularly are you looking to take to get that consumer who are attracted towards the unbranded and maybe get into your brand particularly?
Right. No. So I think unbranded is a behavior, and number 2 is the reason for usage, which essentially is value for money that the consumer seeks. Right. We need to understand that if I have to move the consumer into packaged, there has to be some level of value addition that I have to do, because I will always be premium to a lose. Right. Now, to charge that, there are certain elements that we keep activating. First is that all my media plans reach a certain audience, so awareness level for the brand is very high. But awareness being high, if my availability metrics are lower, then it becomes a challenge because consumer is aware of the brand but is not finding me in the store, right?
Yeah.
So at a distribution level, we are working towards continually expanding our footprint in terms of availability. So we
Okay.
monitor our distribution metrics in general trade. General trade is where loose
Yeah.
plays a very important role, right?
Yeah.
So that's one. And that's a baseline that we have to continually work on to really bring impact.
Yeah.
The second is to be present where growth is happening. So we are also seeing now that tier 2, tier 3 towns are also showing good growth on packaged basmati, right? With
Okay.
increasing disposable incomes, consumers also being exposed to more awareness levels. That's also happening. So number 2 is to really make sure that our distribution setup in the tier 2, tier 3 towns are also strengthened further. So that's
Yeah.
point number 2. Point number 3 is to really give the consumer a reason to prefer, right? And a reason to prefer could be at varied levels. So that one is a rational level, which is a functional, and we know that a product level rice doesn't otherwise have much challenges. But one thing or a couple of things that we really bring to the table. One is the fact that we can give the promise of no adulteration because it's
Yeah.
a pure basmati rice. So that's
Yes.
one thing that we clearly communicate at point of sale, right?
Yeah.
The second thing that we try to do essentially, other than that, is the fact that uh, uh, you know we try to also give the consumer value addition in the form of aging our rice,
Yeah.
which is not an assurance that lose. So we talk about how India Gate is aged and how that really brings more value to the table. So I think from a functional aspect that, and the last leg is more an emotional value, right?
Yeah.
I think brands of our stature and scale really need to understand that, consumers are not only just buying products, but they're also buying an emotion, right?
Yeah.
So I think when you look at it from that point of view, and we've seen that in multiple categories, right?
Yeah.
The emotional dialing works much better in staples categories. And so,
Yeah.
very, very insightful things like when a guest comes home, why serve something which is, not the best? Those kind of emotional anchors we keep working on in the consumer's mind frame to really bring that value as a brand to the table.
Okay.
I think if I look at it, these are the spectrum of things that we do, right?
Yeah.
Also, interestingly, some of the packaging itself is an effort to do that because the packaging provides a lot more information about the
Yeah,
product
the QR
than a
code.
loose good in a sack. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. And one last piece, which is more, I would say, business view, but is the fact that, see, at the end of the day, in a category like ours, the retailer plays a very important role in
Yeah.
selling the product to the consumer, right?
Yeah.
So the retailer, in effect, becomes an influencer for us.
Yeah.
Which is why we constantly work on the retailer schemes, the retailer inputs to really drive,
Yeah.
top of mind saliency within the retailers, who then becomes an influencer for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I recall this when I was talking to the Asian Paint CMO. He was telling me this, that
Exactly.
retailer becomes the influencer,
In
and
fact,
I think that's the
Asian
commodity
Paints
thing.
and Pidilite are the best examples.
Yeah, yeah, they are the one who actually the retailer become the influencer. Also, the last time we spoke, you mentioned some of the trends that you see, particularly in north, west, east. Is there any change that you would like to highlight, particularly in the areas, or maybe the trends that you have seen, particularly with the newer categories that you have forayed into? Something that you would like to highlight that?
Uh, Not so much in food, honestly, because these trends don't, I mean, rest of them are all micro trends in my view. No, not really, not something which comes top of mind right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a marketer, I would also like to understand where do you see, because you said that first I want to understand from a basmati rice, how are you distributing your budget? If you could share the percentage.
Mhm.
Also, where do you see live sports coming into that picture, like IPL and maybe the cricket? Are
Yeah.
you also going to non-cricket sports?
Mhm. See, in terms of budgets, I think, Yash, there has been over the last, I would say, 2 to 3 years, significant shift in our budgets into the digital ecosystem.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I say digital, it would mean connected TV, Meta, and also influencers, right? We've also really amped up our influencer presence primarily from, as a low involvement category, we really need to, drive engagement and conversation.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
think that's one thing that we've done. Also, we see retail media becoming a very big animal,
Yeah.
right? I think retail media is getting increasing focus in our budget allocation. Yeah, because we feel that with almost, I would say, 40% of our consumer business in India coming from organized trade,
Yeah.
I think we are actually talking to a large catchment of consumers who are coming to buy, right?
Yeah.
And when I look at it from a pure marketing lens,
Yeah.
then retail media offers me a huge ability to really reach out to the consumers closer to the point of sale
Yes.
and in a very targeted manner.
Yeah.
So I see retail media becoming bigger.
Yeah.
The only challenge with retail media, Yash, is the same challenge that we faced in digital, 3-4 years back, is the measurability of, what you're doing. So it's just impressions. Now, I don't know. There's nobody telling me those impressions are actually getting delivered or
Yeah.
not getting delivered, unlike a bark.
Yeah.
So that's always going to be a challenge. But I think as marketers, we need to understand that not everything that we do is going to be measurable. So
Yes.
we have to navigate certain uncertain, environments in terms of opportunities. I'm sure these will all evolve eventually.
Yeah.
But at this stage, yes, and it's, Yash, very fluid. I feel there's no one playbook which can tell us that this is right. I think we are in a world where we will all have to do a lot of test and learns, share
Yeah.
our learnings, and kind of be able to do the right thing. Yeah.
Okay. Would it be possible to share a tangible number, particularly like you said that the
So I
retail
think now, if you look at our marketing budget, about between retail media and digital, we
Yeah.
spend about 50% of our budgets there, and the rest 50% is traditional media.
Okay. And
In
what do
our
you think particularly about the live sports as a cricket as an
Uh,
opportunity in the
See, I think sports we've not really explored and not really part of our plan at this point in time, until and unless
yeah.
the idea is the centerpiece of the
Okay.
yeah. Uh, I mean, and hence, really, though it's IPL season, and we've been constantly we evolve it, we evaluate it every year.
Yeah.
Also, given our agenda as a brand, it's not very unified band in India. We are doing
Yeah.
multiple things, so I
Yeah.
think something like sports becomes more relevant for such people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, one filter that we always have to apply is the decision maker in such categories.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes it becomes that. Yeah.
Because I also believe that as a marketer, you would also think that cricket has become too much cluttered in a way that you could not stand out. And
Yes.
also, this non-cricket sports, like I have seen going ahead that if a brand want to target tier 2 and 3 cities, they are going to the non-cricket sports like Kho
True,
or
true.
Kabaddi
Kabaddi,
and targeting. Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yes. I agree.
Just a second last question. I would also like to understand how is your distribution revenue placed for this basmati rice in terms of, because you said that the modern trade is something that is getting a chunk. If you could share that percentage if possible.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, today, if I were to look at data, I think around 40% of my business comes from modern trade and e-commerce.
Yeah.
Within which, if I were to say, about 15% is modern trade and 25% is e-commerce. The rest continues to be general trade.
Okay.
We have a good chunk of our Horeca business, which is largely general trade.
Yeah. And this new category, do you think that this split will be kind of the same, or is it the split will be more bent towards the quick commerce or the e-commerce?
It's going to be a little bit more towards modern trade e-commerce. But it also depends on where we get success. For example, if the staples piece does well, then maybe it'll still continue to have a GT. Because I think what we are also seeing is that each category has a different salience across,
Yes.
For example, in healthy oils, we see a very high indexation of, modern trade e-commerce. But if you look at, let's say, suji, besan, maida as a category, it's still very general trade dominant.
Cool. These were my questions, particularly from the brand, but I would also interestingly want to ask you, as a marketer who have been into the space,
Yeah.
what's that one marketing belief that you that you thought 5 years ago was relevant but doesn't stand in today's evolving landscape?
No, I think one of the things that I mean, and it's not really a marketing reality, I would say, but more a channel reality, is that never thought that quick commerce in India would really become such a consumer facing, thing that marketers would have to look at. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think, and then very honestly, it's more in categories which are planned to purchase, like staples, etc. We never thought so.
yeah,
Uh, Seriously surprised all of us. I think it
yeah,
surprised a lot of people at the commerce end also. I mean,
yeah,
at the platforms.
yeah,
But it's been a good learning. Yeah, I
yeah,
think with the kind of data that is now available,
yeah,
it really, while it complicates, but it also in some ways enables a marketer to take
yeah.
much better decisions. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Do
think
you
yeah,
also think that the big packaging also gets sold out in the quick commerce because, as you said, that it's a planned purchase?
yeah,
Basically, what I
yes.
have seen is that's a last minute thing. So, do people buy big packet like a 5 kg or a 10 kg, particularly for quick commerce, or is it like 1 2 kg only?
So there are two types of behavior we have seen. One is that there's a quick need. For example,
Yeah.
guests are coming, biryani banana hai, biryani rice order. Okay, that's
Yes.
one way. And then whatever basket gets built. The other is that, and we see also a good chunk of sales come during the first to 10th of the month also, which is
Okay.
what we used to see. So people know कि इस टाइम पे मेरे को खरीदना है, ओके राइस आटा ले लिया. अब उसके
Yeah.
बाद बास्केट बिल्डिंग होती है दैट ओ अच्छा
Uh,
ये भी चाहिए, ये भी चाहिए, ये भी चाहिए, राइट?
yeah.
So with that, that's what we are seeing, typically in terms of behavior.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked the video, please hit like, share, subscribe button and let us know in the comment section which brand marketer would you like to listen next and what would be your question to him. Till then, please stay safe and thank you so much for listening.